afternoon, Years 5 and 6, and welcome back to our learning journey. You'll remember that this is a 2-week learning journey, which we started on Monday the 22nd of February. This is video 3 for Friday the 26th of February, and this is our PM video. So if you've missed any of the other videos, I really strongly recommend that you go back to those, because what I'm going to be talking about and doing with you in this video won't make an awful lot of sense unless you've done the bit of thinking beforehand. So as always, we're going to start with a recap, then we're going to be doing some thinking and writing together, and then we'll close our week. So our learning journey question is, how can I spread hope in my community? We began the week by unpicking that question and choosing our outcome. And you'll remember, if you've seen this morning's video, that hopefully I made our outcome a little bit clearer to you. There were a few questions about it on Thursday. So we're going to be writing a letter, including a piece of artwork, to give to somebody in our community to try and bring them some hope and lift their spirits. Okay, you're going to be writing your letter at home, and you're going to bring it to school with your learning journey and your other work on Monday the 8th of March. And that's when we start back at school. And Mrs. PA and I, we will help you post that to somebody. Okay, and we'll support you with that and help you, okay? So please bring your letter to school on that day. Okay, so we thought about our question and our outcome. And our gateway for this learning journey is expression. An expression is when we're thinking about how we've expressed ourselves to an unknown audience, confidently and articulately. And we'll be thinking about how to make a positive impression and how we can express our values with honesty. And a quick reminder of our time scale. So it is the 26th of February today. We're going to plan our letter today, and then we're going to use 3 or 4 days next week to write our letter, to edit it and draft it. We'll write it up neatly on Thursday the 4th, and on Friday we'll conclude our learning journey by answering the question and doing a short reflection. So we've really only got 3 days to write our letter next week, so we're going to have to be very focused and dedicated to achieve our outcome. Okay, so our focus this afternoon then, we've got 2 focuses. We're going to be deciding who we're writing our letter to and why, and we're going to plan our letter. Okay, so by the end of the afternoon you'll have a really clear idea of who you're writing to, what you're going to include, and what your letter might look like when it's finished. So if you could please turn to a clean page and write in today's date and this title, who am I writing my letter to and why? Then when you've written it in, please underline it using your red pen or a coloured pen at home and your ruler. Take your time, Year 5 and 6, check you've got a capital letter, that I has a capital letter, that you spell the words correctly, and that the proper nouns in the date also have a capital letter. Okay, pause the video now then, please. Fantastic. Hopefully we're ready to make a start then. So, who are we going to be writing our letter to? Now, I'd like you please to turn to the page in your book where you have your mind map. I'm just going to pause now to give you time to do that. Okay, hopefully then you've got your mind map ready. If you haven't, just pause the video, okay, so that I don't start talking and you get yourself all flustered. Okay, so mind map then. On Monday we were thinking about people in our community that we could write to. Okay, and actually Year 6 in our live Zooms we added to this mind map, and some people reminded me of sports clubs and other clubs that they attend as being part of their community. Some people were sharing who in their family and friends are considered as part of their community. I know some people added more detail to school. So they added on friends, their teachers, their support staff, and other people that they see at school. So I want you now, Year 5 and 6, just have a really careful look at your mind map and think, who are you going to write your letter to and why? Okay, again, I'm going to pause just to give you some time to think, and then I'll come back with some suggestions and some help for you. Okay, so you might have decided then, Year 5 and 6, that you want to write to somebody that you're close to, perhaps a family member or a friend. You might want to write to an auntie or an uncle that you've not seen for a while. You might want to write to your grandparents. Or perhaps there's somebody in your house that's been really supportive of you and your home learning, and you think it's only fair that you write a letter to give them a little bit of hope in return, that things are going to be easier for them. Or perhaps Year 5 and 6, there's been somebody that you've been thinking about at from the Memory Cafe. Perhaps you've been thinking about Peggy or Brian, who you met there. Perhaps you've got a neighbour. Perhaps there's an elderly gentleman who lives across the road from you who hasn't been able to have a visitor, and you might like to write them a letter to bring them some hope. Perhaps you might like to write a letter to somebody from our church community. For example, Juliet from Open the Book. Maybe you know a doctor or a nurse who's been working incredibly hard and you'd like to send them a letter to give them a little bit of hope. Whoever you choose, Year 5 and 6, it is up to you. If you are really stuck and you're not sure who to write to, I recommend choosing somebody that you know, so a family or a friend, or perhaps somebody at school. And that will make it a little bit easier if you're really not sure. But I certainly hope that lots of us are going to be brave and choose somebody maybe from the red or blue section, maybe even this sort of peachy section down here, or the green section. Remember last half term when you were challenging yourself and how proud you felt of the results that in the outcomes that you had? Don't be afraid to do that again. Okay, so now you've decided then who you're going to write to. We're going to put that into a sentence. Okay, it doesn't have to be a complicated sentence, but you're going to write something like this in your learning journey. I am writing my letter to because. Now I'm going to ask you now, Year 5 and 6, just to pause the video and use that, write that sentence into your book and have a go explaining why you're writing to whoever you've chosen to. And then when you've had a go, come back to the video and I'll show you my example and we can compare and work together. Okay, off you go then. Hello again, Year 5 and 6. So hopefully you've written your sentence into your book. Now I've got my sentence here ready and I wrote it, I did put a lot of thought into it, but I know I wrote it quite quickly because I had lots of ideas in my head that I wanted to get down. So I know that I do need to use cups to go back and just check that I've not missed any capital letters or pieces of punctuation. So the first thing I'm going to do is think about capital letters. So I'm going to start at the beginning. Oh no, I've missed a capital. And you'll notice, Year 5 and 6, I'm using my purple pen because we use a purple editing pen at school. If you've got a purple pen at home, you could use it. Don't worry if you haven't, but you might like to use a different colour. So capital letters, I am writing my letter. This does not need a capital letter. Letter is not a word that needs a capital. So I'm writing my letter to my Peggy. Peggy is a name that has a capital letter, so that's brilliant. I am writing my letter to my Peggy because I have been thinking about her feel sad and being without people. If I write there's that I again. If I write to her, I, brilliant, can hopefully make her smile and remind her that this situation isn't going to last forever. There is hope. Okay, I think I've got all my capital letters in the right place. Now I've got to check that it makes sense so that if somebody else was to read my work, would they understand it? So let's go through. I am writing my letter to my Peggy. Well, that doesn't make sense. So I'm going to take out my. I am writing my letter to Peggy. Now, who's Peggy? So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use some brackets here. And brackets are great for giving extra information about the noun. Okay, so I can add in here who Peggy is. So I'm writing my letter to Peggy, a woman from the Memory Cafe. I can put my bracket in. Now, if I'm using brackets, okay, we do not use a full stop inside of the bracket. Okay, so just be aware of that, because I know some year sixes like to sneak them in. Okay, but they do not go inside the bracket. So I'm checking for understanding now and sense. I am writing my letter to Peggy, a woman from the Memory Cafe, because I have been think about her. That should be thinking. Okay, because I have been thinking about her, feel sad. Again, feeling sad and being without people. Now that seems like a natural end to my sentence. If I'm thinking about it making sense, then that would mean that this part also needs a capital letter, because I have been thinking about her feeling sad and being without people. If I write to her, I can hopefully make her smile and remind her that this situation isn't going to last forever. There is hope. Brilliant. I think that makes sense now. So now I've got to check the punctuation. I'm writing my letter to Peggy because I've been thinking about her feeling sad and being without people. If I write to her, comma, because this is a subordinate clause, I can hopefully make her smile and remind her that this situation isn't going to last forever. There is hope. Full stop at the end, or even an exclamation mark there if I wanted to. Right. Then I would go on year 5, to check my spelling and my vocabulary. Now this video already looks like it's getting a little bit long, so I'm not going to show you how to do those things because I trust that you can do those at home without me. What I will just remind you is that with your vocabulary, if you're using words like sad, there is always a more grown-up word that we can use than sad. So I don't want to see anybody in year 5 and 6 using sad. I want people to see people challenging themselves, please, to pick the very best vocabulary. So now it's time to pause the video and use cups to edit your writing and check that it is the very best that it can be, please. Right, off you go, everybody. A fantastic effort, year 5 and 6. Well done. So now we know exactly who we are writing our letter to and why. So hopefully now our outcome is starting to make a little bit more sense to us. We've got a little bit of a purpose now. We know who we're going to write to and who we're going to spread a little bit of hope to. Now, the next thing we're going to need to be thinking about is planning our letter. Now, you are probably going to need a double page for this, okay? So if you think you haven't got much room left on your page, you might decide to start a new page now. Or you might think, nope, there's a little bit of room left, I can fit it on here, and then I'll just use the next page in my book. Okay, only you know that, year 5 and 6, because only you can see your book at the moment. So you'll need to make a good decision on that, please. So at the top of your page, please write the title, Planning My Letter, and then underline that, please, with your red pen and a ruler. Then if you're starting a new page, you'll need to write today's date again, please, with the correct capital letters. Okay, pause the video now then, please. Okay, so hopefully you've got your title ready now and you're ready to go. Now, if we were at school, I would be giving you a planning sheet that looks like this. And some of you might want to organise your page so that it looks like this. And the way to do that is just by using headings that you've underlined with your red pen. Okay, so the first heading that we're going to be thinking about is our address. So on your page, I would put that in the top right hand corner like this has done, because then it's going to look a little bit like your letter, and that's going to help you organise and lay out your letter when you come to start writing on Monday. So the first thing we're going to plan is the address. Now, if you are writing to a family member and you're happy for that person to know your home address, then you can use your home address. But please, 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 please check with your grown-up and your adult at home before you do that. Now, if you're writing to somebody that you don't know, then you must use the school address. Okay? Now, the school address can be found on Google if that's the one that you're using. Okay, so I'm going to ask you now to pause the video and have a chat with somebody at home and decide whether you're going to use your address or the school address. Then you're going to write this heading in your book, underline it with your red pen, and you're going to write the address into your book. And if you want to lay it out like your letter, which I do suggest you do, don't forget to write it on the right hand side of your page. Okay, pause the video now then, year 5 and 6. Okay, well done everybody. So we've got the address. Now we're going to think about how we will open our letter. Okay, so how are we going to start it? Now, please could you turn back to your success criteria and just remind yourself of how you're going to need to start your letter. Because if you're writing to somebody you know, it's different than if you're writing to somebody you don't know. Okay, so have a look back in your book now, please, and just remind yourself and make a decision about what you're going to need to do, please. Okay, year 5 and 6, so well done for looking back in your book, and hopefully you had some notes that helped you. Now, I'm writing to Peggy at the Memory Cafe. Okay, and unfortunately, all I know of Peggy is her first name. So I'm going to say, Dear Peggy, and I've remembered that dear and Peggy need a capital letter, and then we need a comma after their name. And don't forget, year 5 and 6, when we do a comma, it looks like this. Okay, so we've got that sort of small, almost like a full stop at the top and a flick towards the left. Okay, if you're writing to somebody that you only know their surname, then you might say Dear Mr. and then their name, or Dear Mrs. and then their name. Okay, if you're not sure how to spell their name, check with a grown-up at home, because it wouldn't be very polite to spell it incorrectly, would it? That's not going to make a good first impression, and our gateway is all about expression and impression for this learning journey. If you don't know who you're writing to, then you need to use Dear Sir or Dear Madam, followed by a comma. And if you're writing to somebody that you're really familiar with, perhaps your grampy or your auntie, then you'd say Dearest Grampy or Dear Grandad or To Grandad, followed by a comma. Or if you're going auntie, you might write Dear Auntie Marie or To Auntie Marie, followed by your comma. So if you pause the video now, then year 5 and 6, and make your decision and record it in your book, please. Right, well done everybody. So we're now thinking about our introduction. So again, turn to your success criteria, please. Have a little look. What do we need to plan for our introduction? Off you go then. Well done everybody who went back to their introduction and had a look. So your introduction then. Who are you? Particularly if you're writing to somebody that you've not spoken to for a while. Why are you writing? And we need to start our topic. Okay, and the model text that we looked at used a memory, but you might want to use a joke or a story. So let's start by thinking about who am I? So if I'm writing to Peggy from the memory cafe, I'm going to have to say that I'm Miss Dyer, or my name, and I'm from Totnes St John's, Year 6, and I visited in 2020. Okay, so that's who I am. Now you'll notice Year 5 and 6, I'm not writing in full sentences. I'm just writing notes, because when you plan, you're not actually writing your letter. This is just sort of hints and tips that are going to remind you of what you need to write on Monday. Now, why am I writing? So I am writing to let you know I've been thinking of you. To send some hope in these difficult times. To perhaps to let you know, oops, what happened there? Let's go back up here. To let you know I am looking forward to visiting again. Okay, so why we're writing, and then I'm going to need to start my topic maybe with a memory or a joke or a story. So I know Peggy, one of my favourite memories of Peggy is playing cards or Connect 4 with some of the Year 6 boys. So a memory that makes me smile. You and the Year 6 boys playing, and I think it was Connect 4. I'm sure the boys will correct me if I've got that wrong, but I'm pretty certain it was Connect 4. Okay, so if you're writing to somebody you know really well, you're probably not going to need to introduce yourself, okay, but you are going to need to say why you're writing and then start your topic. Okay, so if you pause the video now then Year 5 and 6 and add your notes in, and then come back when you're ready. Well done Year 5 and 6, so we are now thinking about paragraph 1 and 2. And some of you might only be writing one paragraph for your letter, and that's absolutely fine, while others of you will push yourselves, just like last half term where we were being really determined explorers, to write 2 paragraphs. And these are the main body of your letter. So this is where you're going to have to bring up your topic and your conversation. This is the bit where you are spreading hope. Okay, so things that I would include in paragraph 1 if I was writing to Peggy. Now, I would definitely be thinking about hope. I'd be talking about the sunshine, spring and summer, and I'm going to mention flowers because I know Peggy's a keen gardener and I can ask her about her gardening. I would also mention some of the things in the community that I've noticed. So I might talk about the community garden and how that's brought me hope. I might talk about something that I've done in the community, a rainbow drawing that brought me hope. I might mention Sir Captain Tom Moore and ask Peggy if there's anybody she's been inspired by. Okay, so paragraph 1 then is all about spreading hope. You might even have something about light in there, and there being light at the end of the tunnel, just like the Queen's speech and Boris Johnson. Okay, so pause the video now then, year 5 and 6, and have a think about paragraph number 1. Again, this is just notes and ideas about the things that you're going to include in your letter. If you're writing to a family member, you might be able to tell them about some of the things that you've been doing. Okay, or talk to them about things that you're looking forward to doing with them. Okay, off you go then, year 5 and 6, and come back when you're ready. Well done, everybody. I know that was probably a little bit tricky, okay, because I'm not there to help you, and I can't give you all the answers in this video because you're all writing about so many different people. So well done for not giving up and having a go at writing your notes. Now, if you are writing a paragraph 2, okay, and you're not sure what to write about, then I would think about writing about your artwork or the picture that you have drawn. And if you remember in our model text, that person was writing about their picture because it was special to their family. And I know lots of you have chosen pictures of places where you've been for a walk, or that you've visited, or that perhaps you used to live in, or that are special to the person you're writing to. So if I'm writing to Peggy, I would probably draw Peggy a picture of the river in Totnes. Okay, so I would talk about how the river has lots of signs of spring. Okay, how it's calming. I might mention that I've been there for a walk with my family. I might tell her about something funny that I've seen happen on the river. Okay, if I'm drawing about the bridges, I might talk about something to do with the bridges. Okay, so there's some ideas for those people who are doing paragraph 2. So if you need to add in some extra information for paragraph 2, please pause the video now. I think most people will be ready to think about how they're going to end their letter. So you'll need the heading, how will you end your letter next? And again, you need to go back to your success criteria and have a think about how you're going to end your letter, please. And then unpause the video when you're ready. Right, welcome back everybody. So you'll remember there's a few different ways that you can end your letter. Now, if like me, you're writing to somebody that you know, who you're familiar with, then you're going to write yours sincerely, followed by a comma at the end of your letter, and then your name. So yours sincerely, Miss Dyer, with a full stop. Okay, so that's how I would have to end my letter. If you're writing to somebody that you don't know, then you're going to need to use yours faithfully, a comma, then your name and a full stop. And if you're writing to somebody that you know really well, somebody in your house or your family, then you might write love from, followed by a comma, your name or even your nickname, a special thing that they call you at home, and a full stop, or something like best wishes. Okay, year 5 and 6, please pause the video now and then come back when you're ready. Right, we are very, very close to finishing year 5 and 6. I've just got one final challenge. Now, some of you will be able to challenge yourselves to really think carefully about the magpie work that you did earlier. So when you were thinking about Boris Johnson this morning and about the Queen's speech, you put down lots of ideas about things you could include in your writing. So we had ideas about the vaccination, we had ideas about the dates, the special important dates that all gave us lots of hope. We had ideas and words that we could use from the Queen's speech, and we had a quote from Sir Captain Tom Moore. And you may even have some of your own research, some of your own words, phrases and sentences that you want to use in your letter. Now, your final challenge, year 5 and 6, will be to add those to your planning. So, for example, you might go down to where you've got paragraph 1 and you might say, I really like the phrase that Boris Johnson used at the end of his speech. I'm just going to remind myself what it is now, year 5 and 6. So here we are. There is light ahead, leading us to spring and summer, which I think will be seasons of hope. And I really like that part. I think actually I could use that in my letter. So underneath paragraph 1, where I'm going to be writing about spring and hope, I'm going to pop that quote there so that it's there ready for me to use on Monday. Now, you can also magpie things from the example letter that I showed you on Monday. Or was it Wednesday? Oh, sorry, it was Wednesday, wasn't it? Wednesday. Okay, and I will put a copy of this letter on Class Dojo for you. So your final challenge then is to add your magpie ideas, your words, sentences and phrases to your planning. And then hooray, you have finished. Okay, so you can give yourself a huge pat on the back because it is a long video today, so well done for getting to the end. Now, please share your learning on Class Dojo with Mrs. PA and I. We really would love to see your planning. And the more effort you put into this part, the easier your letter will be. Okay, so do use us. Ask for help if you need it. Okay, please don't be sat at home thinking, I'm really stuck, I don't know what to write. Ask for help, please, everybody. Right, have a fabulous day and I will see you very soon.